aspirations of selling for close to $1 billion.
All you got to do is you got to stay high.
What a week! It's only Tuesday!
Alright, everybody, we're going to get into this. You know, it's welcome back to another act of Stay Hot. This is Act 33. If you're just joining us for the first time, this is the documentation of CEO and founder Troy Crema as he builds one of Toronto's hottest tech startups, Greencube. Give him a little rundown on Greencube as we do.
Yep. Hey guys, Greencube's an AI outreach platform. We leverage basically ICP filtering and basically a system of intelligence to bring you the most highly qualified leads exactly in your ICP that are best matched to you. We believe at Greencube matching the prospect to ultimately the salesperson at the end of the day, and ultimately really capturing that process to help you ultimately save 50% of your time on outreach while delivering you the highest quality leads in B2B marketing. Okay.
He's a pro, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And so Stay Hot is basically, we've been doing this for 33 weeks now.
Yeah.
And we're literally documenting each week over week the progress, the growth, the decision making. It's funny, if you go back to the last act, Act 32, we started off on a high. we were going, and Troy was saying, "This is the week," and then you can just see this is you posted a great picture on your story where explained it was like the growth paths.
Yeah.
And it basically just showed it's popped up on the screen right now, but it was basically showing the growth trajectory and how over time it's a slow incline.
Yeah.
But day to day it's like up, down, up, down.
So
up,
it's
down.
funny, right? Like someone actually, I had some people reach out to me on that. They're like, "Can you explain this to me?"
Okay.
And I was like, because it was like, it wasn't very self-explanatory. Squiggly line.
True.
It was squiggly line, day, straight line, decade, right?
Yeah.
And so basically what it was saying was during the day or day to day, especially during a startup and especially during when you're trying to innovate and disrupt, you're going through such highs and lows on a daily basis. But when you zoom out and you see it from a decade perspective, this thing is just growth. And so that's ultimately what that kind of picture said. And listen, we're just going through another phase of growing pains, right?
Nice.
That I would say over the course of this week. And the great thing that I want to note about this is that we put ourselves in that position to grow. So the only reason why I am feeling a little like, not stressed, but like uncomfortable is because I put myself in that situation because I set expectations to grow.
Huge.
I set a certain benchmark number that we should hit. We are honest on GCX, and we're there, but we're getting feedback now on the platform that it's feedback.
Nice.
And you know what? It's but we have expectations for the platform to be like the best AI prospecting platform out there,
Of course.
which it is.
Yeah.
The platform is great,
Okay.
but what we realized was a platform that is new. You have to train people on the platform.
That's right.
So that's something that we've
Right.
noticed. So we sort of explain that. Now what we've built here at Greencube X is we have a full sales process.
Mm-hmm.
So we built a sales process. We've built in KPIs for each one of our salespeople. And so what that has led to is GC Outreach, which there's two different products as we've talked about, the holistic kind of experience of that system of intelligence we were talking about. That is a product that all of our salespeople are going to go out, Clark and Anthony, and basically go out and basically be business development gurus, getting that new logos in the door, jump on qualification calls. And so we've divided it actually into 4 steps. So I think this will actually really help sales organizations and startups. So there's 4 different steps. We have 2 different products. One is like a SaaS plus product, where the SaaS basically, we help basically onboard and manage you. That's called GC Outreach, right? That full system of intelligence, audience creation, to cadencing, to messaging, to feedback, the looping process that really optimizes your whole sales team, GC Outreach. We also have a great platform in GCX, which is really that pure SaaS product, do it all yourself, lead delivery platform over lead search. Fucking love that, because lead delivery saves your salespeople probably 90% of their time on their prospecting. We did it today. It was amazing. I'm not going to digress, but I will go into that eventually.
Sure.
There's 4 steps in this process. There's 4 steps ultimately closing deals, all right, to get to a closed deal. Outreach, qualification, demo, negotiations, close. Okay?
Yes.
4 different steps. What we realized was, you know what? We were asking all of our salespeople originally in the organization to do what I do. All 4 steps. All right? I can do all 4 steps because I'm a founder. I know the product inside and out. I've gotten through a lot of pain and struggles, I've gotten decently good at this process. Okay, I can do it efficiently. I can do personalization. I can connect with people. I can get my outreach. I can step one. I can do the personalization aspect. I can know exactly who my target audience is, how to target them, what to say, how to connect. Right? Open the door. I already know they're qualified because I've done this so much. I know exactly who my ideal customer profile is. All right.
Yes.
I can qualify them just by looking at them.
Yes.
Okay. I'm good at that. 3. When they're qualified and looking at them, I can kind of combine steps 1 and 2 to ultimately then go to a demo. I try to just get that demo book, and then eventually once I get the demo book, I know I can get them into a closed deal negotiation, right? 4-step process. But not everyone is a founder, and this is another thing in venture capital and stuff. They don't want to see founder-led sales. They want to see actual, basically, processes from sales. So
Yes.
what we've done here now is we've hired 2 people, Clark and Anthony, to take steps 1 and 2, to take that outreach and that qualification process. And within that outreach and qualification process, they will then book a demo with me or one of our AEs, okay? When that gets the AE, we know that there's a set list of questions and on the qualification call, 5 or 6 different questions that they've answered on the other side. And so by the time it gets to me, it's served up on a platter, okay?
That's right.
And when it's a qualified demo, guys, step number 3, you should be able to close 3 of every 10 of those deals, okay? So 3 of every 10 of those deals on step, then ultimately go to step 4, close ones. So 10 basically demos that each of those people need to get me in a month, a KPI.
Yes.
I should be able, as an average salesperson, to close 6 of those because they've already qualified them, right? So what happens now when the people do not ultimately sign up or get to the qualification stage? Well, we've already identified them from an outreach process and from a qualification process. We've already pre-qualified it through the Greencube platform that they're good potential customers, right? They're salespeople in B2B tech. So, but they might not be a GC outreach type of user.
Correct.
Because they're an enterprise organization, they have outreach
They already
strategies.
have stuff in place.
What's product that we have that ultimately we created for this?
GCX.
Thank you. So what we then do is, if they don't make the criteria to go down the pipeline on GC outreach and get to a demo with me, what are we doing? Kicking it over, we're doing a sign-up call to sign them up for GCX, a full onboarding walkthrough, giving them that free promo code, and then what we're doing is we're actually helping them create that audience in that search. Audiences are delivered on GCX 2 days later because we have extensive AI processing so that we deliver you the best leads possible. Then we ultimately have another follow-up call. So really, it's a 3-call process to then get that user fully embedded within that GCX platform, or them ultimately coming to me for GC outreach. Greencube sales process. So we just created this over the last week. It takes a lot of basically learning, it takes a lot of teaching, it takes a lot of buy-in, it takes a lot of emotion and time, and so that's really what you're seeing me right now. But that's a great process that ultimately is going to lead to success at the end of the day, but we got to work through it.
And that's an internal process.
Internal.
Right? Okay, so and that right there was incredible.
Oh.
Well done, Troy. Take a well-deserved, like that. No, that's very valuable information, not only for people listening, but for your own documentation.
100%.
Right? But before I have a lot of questions. Before we do that, we have a message from our sponsor, GCX. Pop it up.
Pop it up. This act is sponsored by Greencube X, a SaaS subscription service that delivers you 40 of the highest quality AI-powered leads in B2B in your direct ideal customer profile. It saves salespeople 40% of their time on unproductive outreach. Traditional prospecting tools only deliver 60% accuracies from an ideal customer profile. We deliver to you 100%. Click this link below to follow and sign up for GCX today. Let's go. Also, free promo code right now that we can use. It's just called FREETRIAL. Capital FREETRIAL. Free trial. Plug that in when you get to your Greencube sign-up page. It gets you 40 leads on us. And then also, guess what? Reach out to us. We'll reach out to you. Make sure we book that sales call so you know exactly how to use the platform. We're here for you as salespeople. Let's get it done.
Yeah, and I saw it this morning on LinkedIn. I think you posted it last night.
Yeah.
The free trial. I think that's an incredible opportunity because when you're first starting out with a new product, a new service that's not well known yet, give it out. Let people try it because they're going to get on the platform and they're going to get stuck because they're going to be like, damn, this is saving me so much time.
Yeah.
Why? Like, I need this.
So it's funny, right? We're getting so much feedback, right? Your brother's actually one of the feedback people.
How did that happen?
So he reached out to me.
Okay.
Actually, Patrick, his brother, works at CIBC. He's
Yeah.
an investment. He's a portfolio manager.
Yeah.
And he said, "Troy, I just want to get new clients. I want to get new potential
Nice.
high net worths, right?" Well, Patrick, he can't. He's a perfect example of someone who's a salesperson. Like in all investment investment bankers are actually salespeople, right? You have to
Yeah.
sell to an institution. You have to sell to your investors always, right? That you're
Yeah.
going to be. This is your value prop. This is your investment criteria. This is how you
Sure.
do your job. Patrick's in sales, even though he's in finance.
Yeah, and-
We're always in sales.
In full disclosure, he doesn't really share all that much about his work in career
No.
unless I pry questions. So I've pried like personal questions of like, hey, why do you do this? How do you make these decisions? Whatever. But the way I picture it is like
Right.
he's kind of running his own business
Within a CIBC.
within a CIBC wealth
Wood-
management.
wood
but-
gun, yeah.
Right. So it's up to him to find clients to invest money with his team.
With his team, and that's the thing, right? Sales.
Yeah.
You gotta sell your investment strategy.
Correct.
You gotta sell your portfolio.
And that I will make you money over time.
And you gotta outreach potential people
Yeah.
to invest in.
Sure.
And I said, Patrick, well, you're just going after high net worths and people like money. He's like, yeah, but I also like kind of that young professional demographic because I can relate to them. ICP, you're creating your audience. Here's a tool, Patrick.
Sure.
GCX. You do your own outreach because the CIBC and a lot of these bigger banks have compliance and stuff, right?
Yeah.
That you have to set. You can't say this about you're promoting a stock because it's ultimately against
That's right.
the rules.
That's
like
right.
you can't promote that, but you can do connection messages, right? You can
Mhm.
build a relationship, jump on a call, learn a little bit more, and that's really the only way you can do it. So like portfolio managers, it's tough, right? A lot of it's word of mouth strategies now, but you're also starting to see
That's right.
Patrick's and a lot of other portfolio managers in the world reaching out via LinkedIn, sending emails, really
Yeah,
trying to create
yeah.
relationships and outreaching. Everyone needs to outreach at the end of the day because everyone is always selling something.
That's right. And if you're not outreaching, then you're not. Really, you're just relying on shit to come to you, clients to come to you, work to come to you,
Right.
instead of actively being proactive and going out and creating that.
So
for
it's
yourself.
funny, right? Like we've created a sales tool for any type of salesperson in the world, and that's GCX, right?
Okay.
That is a sales tool for any type of salesperson in the way. But when they are a type of salesperson, they might not know the traditional sales tools that are out there,
That's right.
like LinkedIn Sales Snap, like
Yeah.
ZoomInfo, like lead search platforms.
I'll be the first to admit. Before I met you, I didn't know any of this existed.
Exactly. So we built the platform in a way for salespeople
Sure.
first
Yeah.
because they know how to use lead search platforms.
Okay. Okay.
Part of our Greencube Greencube
nice.
process, which we're gonna have to do some webinars and shit on,
Nice.
is searching, lead search, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, once you create your lead searches, it turns then into a lead delivery platform. In a lead delivery platform, you don't need to go research people. You get delivered your best 10 leads that are related and matched to you based on the search that you put together and the 4 scores that we give you. What does that do, Tristan? We did it today. It was remarkable. I was able to, in two parts, identify and access. Lead search platforms only allow you to identify, right? It may be access, maybe, but usually it's just identify. You don't know when that person's going to respond or not because we haven't
Correct.
run any AI on it.
Correct.
Proprietary. Anyways, Greencube lets you identify, access that person, and access means personalize a message to outreach.
Mhm.
I was able to identify a CEO in Toronto that went to Western University, played hockey with me. It was the CEO of a company called Rightsline Inc. that ultimately was a perfect potential client for us. Within 3 minutes, I was able to send that guy a LinkedIn message, personalized, ultimately open up a door. And then guess what? I said, you know what, guys? I was still explaining the platform to our salespeople. Let me try to outreach him on, do a personalized email. I was able to identify, send him a personalized LinkedIn message, send him a personalized email message within 9 minutes.
What would that process have looked like without this product?
It takes the best prospecting salesperson in the world without Greencube to go find a qualified person to just identify them.
Yes.
30 minutes.
Okay, so walk us through the steps to
I-
identify that person.
Traditional, so you have to go to a
Traditionally,
lead. So traditionally,
yeah.
what you have to do is you have to go
Find that hockey player at Western, CEO of Rights.
You
Traditional.
don't know. You have nowhere to start. Like it's a
Right.
hockey, but you have to. So I need to go find CEOs in Toronto. Okay.
Yeah.
Go to my LinkedIn Sales Now search. Then I gotta go click in to say, okay, I got my CEOs in Toronto and computer software, but guess what? There's thousands of computer software companies. They might not be related to your ideal customer profile.
Sure.
So now I got to go find within the computer software search databases that CEO in Toronto. Okay, but I'm actually looking for someone who's relatable to me, has commonalities that I can connect to, right? You don't have that on traditional lead search platforms, right?
Correct.
And then again, so I have to go back in and I can save my searches on lead search platforms, but they just regurgitate CEOs in Toronto.
Correct.
But they're not delivering to me my tech.
That's right, because they don't recognize you as a profile, as a person with your personality.
You're
traits
just
and everything.
another
You're just a
user.
search. Yeah, you're just a search.
Just another user.
And so you and I could search for the same keywords and get
You
the
and I
same
can-
results.
No, we on LinkedIn sales now.
On traditional.
Very good point. So we could each put in the same ICP and get
The same results.
and get on LinkedIn Sales Nav, Zoom Info, traditional platform.
Right. But
Greencube, you're going to get different results because we match the salesperson, the user, me, to the basically prospect on their side. The people that Tristan reaches out to are going to be different than the people I reach out to based on our 70 different GCNA AI data points.
so, and for the people that are just joining us,
Yeah.
how does Greencube do that? How does Greencube know that you and I are different with different ICPs?
So it's funny, right? So this is another thing that we walked through today.
Okay.
We take the LinkedIn URL of your profile to deduce and run natural language processing who you are. We have 70 different commonalities that we pull from your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
We create something called the Greencube DNA, the digital profile of who Tristan is, who that sales rep is as a person.
Okay.
We run natural business scoring and personality scoring on that profile, and we leverage basically our own AI intelligence, 5 million plus data points over the last 1.5 years to basically be able to deduce who's most likely to respond to a certain personality based on what they put on their LinkedIn profile to ultimately that prospect on the other side.
Great, but Troy, I don't feel comfortable of Greencube having my data and my information in their software. I don't like that. That's scary to me.
Right. So it's all publicly facing data. So
Meaning what?
So what we've deemed now is we only ingest publicly facing data that you as a person disclose on your public profile. Some LinkedIn profiles are private. We can't access those. Right? So we don't want to, because if you're private, you're ultimately probably not open to receiving any communication. Right?
Great.
You're not outreachable. But if you're public, you're putting yourself out there, which again, I think so many more people are doing nowadays, which is beautiful.
1,000%.
We can deduce based on what you put on your profile 70 different traits that we've created internally here, proprietary within that, to deduce what your Greencube DNA is.
That's right.
And the Greencube DNA of a person that Tristan would relate to is different than the Greencube DNA of a person that I would relate to.
1,000%.
But we could have the same ICP. That's the beauty.
Okay, great. And Tristan, the devil's advocate guy,
I love these
say like, don't worry about Greencube having a database profile on you because you were the one who put that information out on the internet first. Anyways, public. You guys aren't sourcing any data that's behind walls.
We take zero private data internally, and we are full GDPR and CAN-SPAN compliant.
Right.
And we made sure we have awesome lawyers here in downtown Toronto, a very reputable firm we checked in our own in-house counsel here on our board is one of the top lawyers actually in Toronto in private equity. This is one of when you're building a business, you need to also take in the risk factors associated with that business, right?
Of course, especially in a world like this.
Especially in a world like this, data privacy and cybersecurity is a massive risk factor in every technology business. Okay,
of course.
We have from day probably -10. We have put steps in place to make sure we are only ingesting publicly available data. And Shui Song and the team here have developed an amazing we call it data procurement process, where any profiles that we ingest, we glean and we screen them to make sure they're only publicly facing data. And basically, so by the time it hits the Greencube database of the 90 plus million people, there are only 90 plus million people that are publicly facing profiles. And then so essentially what happens here, Tristan, is anyone can do that, right? You can go glean public profiles.
That's right.
It'll take you time.
Sure.
Maybe a year and a half to your head start, but no one has our artificial intelligence on what the 70 commonality traits are for the AI DNA. Differentiate. Huge difference. And we have a 2-year head start.
That's right. On the database. But those 70
we have a 2-year head start on the database. We also have a 2-year head start on real market tested data
That too.
on who engages back to people.
That's right.
digitally.
That's right. Which is you.
Which is
most likely to respond on your outreach.
Because we've actually logged the profiles of
Yes.
the people that have connected back, responded back
Yeah,
across
yeah,
all of our
yeah.
campaigns. No one,
Oh,
and
my
you can't
God.
do that. No one
No,
can go
no.
out and do that. No one has everyone's looking now for proprietary data, right? No one has our data because no one's done the outreach. We've done it. We've lived it.
You've done it yourselves, or your
We've done
clients
it.
have
We've done
and you
it. We've
use
done it
that
ourselves.
information
We've
as
done it
well.
on behalf of our clients. We log all
Yeah.
that information, right? But again, we're not logging the actual response or the actual connection.
No.
We're logging just if they did.
If they did respond.
Check. Variable.
Sure.
Check.
Sure.
AI feedback. Machine learning. System. Whoa.
Okay, this is incredible, and this is a great segue because I was doing some research and just first of all, great job. I mean, as much of a week as you're having, you can still tell that you're steam ahead. So as uncomfortable
Right.
as you may seem, it's like you said at the beginning of this, you put yourself in that, and it's showing. It's like you're
Right.
staying uncomfortable here because you're forcing yourself to grow.
It's
You're not shutting down. You're not shutting down.
Never shutting down. It was funny. It was like last night. I was working till like 2 a.m. dealing with customer service stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is what customer service is like in
Sure.
e-commerce. But I was like laughing. It was like a laugh cry. It was like, oh god. And it was like, I was like, man, this is like sucks, but this is like hilarious. Like, this is fun.
It was
It was almost like I was crying and it was fun.
It was
same
It was
time.
my same
I
reaction.
was like, yeah, I was literally, if someone had walked into the room and saw what I was doing, they go, that guy has problems.
I was gonna say it's my same reaction to when I saw Rihanna's pregnant with A$AP Rocky.
Love that.
R.I.P.
I love
She's love
You're
her.
a Rihanna
Love her.
fan?
Yeah, but she's
I'm
off,
a huge A$AP Rocky.
she's off the market. I'm happy for them.
So
but just
funny.
like I'm so happy for you.
Quick side note on that. So they met when he toured for her in 2012. And he opened for her actually. So A$AP Rocky owned Rihanna on her Bad Girl tour.
Okay.
I was at that fucking concert.
Stop.
Yeah.
Do you have pictures?
I do. Oh,
There are
probably,
videos
probably
of it?
like probably somewhere. But
Okay.
yeah, man, A$AP was sick. Rihanna killed it. I was like,
And
A$AP came my freshman year actually at Dartmouth.
To Dartmouth.
Yeah,
Let's go.
that's sweet.
Hey, so that was big news.
That was
But
big.
but no, it's your. A lot of people may feel uncomfortable at a week and get down on themselves and like start shutting down and start rethinking everything that's going wrong.
Right.
And instead, you're like, no, like this just means I got to lock in even more.
It's great. Lock in every more, but I think no one listen. Remember, like last week, we were like, we made it.
Yeah. I was gonna compare it to how you felt when you were comfortable last
I
week.
can see it already in your head clipping stuff.
You
It's
were
pretty hilarious.
You were comfortable last week,
Sure.
and now you're not comfortable. This
Yeah,
week.
because we put ourselves in those situations. Because we wanted to.
That's right.
Because you put yourself in those situations of uncomfortability, you're growing.
Yes.
We've now realized, and we realize that, you know what, the product is amazing.
Yeah.
The platform is great.
Yeah.
It's great to us.
Yep.
We also got to educate people on it.
1,000%.
No, there has never been a lead delivery platform. I just created this this week. I created this
Lead
yesterday.
delivery.
Again, we're a lead delivery platform. We deliver the best leads for you based on the sales
That's
report
right.
and everything we
That
talk
makes
about.
sense.
Every other platform out there's a lead search platform.
But then you need to educate people how you deliver leads and why
you
you're
gotta
delivering
educate them
those
on.
leads.
Well, you gotta educate them on what a lead delivery platform is, how it functions, because it's the first of its kind. No one knew how to drive a car when it first came out. You had to educate people on how to drive the car. That's what we're doing. We gotta educate some people on how to drive the car.
Wow. Okay. So this is good because I looked at a couple of articles and there's like data science and AI predictions for 2022.
Nice.
And people are starting to say like, hey, this is when things are really going to catch steam in this world.
So this is great. Like, this is like you go into like a huge part about business and in starting a business is timing. You have a lot of businesses out there that are amazing ideas, but it's just before it's time.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
This when I see this stuff, I get so happy because you go, oh wow, Troy, you weren't an idiot like now a year and a half ago and leveraging AI and automation and sales processes to
Right.
reduce that the CMO of Gong came out in her paper in the Gartner report saying that 75% of all B2B sales organizations will adopt an AI sales process by 2025. Now, like, come on, man.
It's so weird. It's like so good. And there's a book by Malcolm Gladwell called Outliers.
Right.
And it's basically a psychological book about how the most successful people in the world became successful because of luck. So like you have, that's not to discredit the hard work and the intelligence and the skill and the personality, everything, all that matters. But it's one thing to have all those things. It's another thing to have all those things at the right time.
So I think that's it, right? Well, so what is it saying? That luck is where hard work meets preparation?
Correct.
I believe in that.
Right.
I really do. Because if we didn't work as hard as we did, we'd never be in this situation. Sure. Right? And if we didn't prepare that this could be the future of where this is going,
that's right,
our hard work would have never met that preparation for where the market is going. And the thing is, though, is like 2025 is still 3 years away. And so it all flows into this whole problem that we're doing today, right? Like, we're educating now, traditionally, the B2B sales organizations, guys, on AI prospecting processes, which is ultimately a way to help reduce your outreach. By 2025, 75% of them are going to be on board, right? They're going to know what this is, and we're not going to have to probably explain to them what a lead delivery platform is versus what a lead search platform is versus what is AI in outreach versus not what is AI in outreach. We're educating the market, which is also why it's so hard right now, because we're doing something new, but we're going to be the thought leaders of the future around AI outreach because this is it.
I know. It's pretty incredible, and it just shows like.
But it's gonna be hard. Like right now, it's gonna be hard because you still have to educate people on this. And when you educate them, you got to build trust. And when you build trust, you got to ultimately then make sure that they're seeing the results in ROI, and then they go, okay, wow, this is where we're going. And eventually, you build the trust, and you educate so many people that. It's like a tipping point, right? Everyone else, it's like bandwagon, everyone else jumps on board, right? So it's like Cincinnati Bengals, you're never good, you're not good, you're not good. Ocean's up, everyone jumps on.
Joe Burr,
right? Joe Burr, right? It's no different from that. You got to build the band, you got to build the trust. Get one believer, then one believer goes to 2 to 4 to 8 to 6 to 32, and eventually, guess what? You don't have to sell every single individual believer. You have a product and marketing people that sell itself.
I think like. Now, like people are starting to open up and they're getting more familiar. Like if Greencube started 10 years ago,
no,
it wouldn't. Even if you did everything the exact same, it's the adoption by the public. It's the adoption by the people. It's the data privacy. It's like that was. It's perfect timing. Yeah, perfect timing. Some of the I just want to run through these points real quick. Is that this is on AI regulation. It'd be good to get a little tidbit on this.
I haven't seen this yet.
This is going to have like. This is obviously as more and more companies adopt AI and more data intelligence comes in and machine learning comes in, there's going to need to be regulations set out by the government. These are just a couple of points out of about 10. So it says, the CEO of Parity says, with all that happened in 2021, it's no wonder smart enterprises are taking steps to future-proof their own practices around fair and equitable AI. Governments around the world, perhaps excluding the US, will pass national algorithmic governance laws. Right? So algorithms have really come into play these past couple of years with TikTok, IG, all this kind of stuff, showing people the negative
this is all coming off of the Trump stuff, right? Remember that?
Yeah, absolutely. The AI Act will pass in the EU, and most companies in the world will have to comply with it. And then this big one I liked a lot too was the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy will publish the nation's first algorithmic Bill of Rights. So we expect to see highly protective and expert-informed provisions, like those that would mandate consumer notification and agency over algorithmic choice for any and all applications of AI. If done right, this effort could set the very definition of what it means to have responsible AI in the US.
This is great. So, when you think about this, so I didn't know anything about artificial intelligence until like 2 years ago. Right? I knew.
You heard the word.
I heard the word, but I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know that it was all feedback data.
Right.
That you go out, you create your feedback data, and you learn, right? And eventually you learn. But what AI really is, guys, artificial intelligence. It's what a human being could do.
Mm-hmm.
Just over on a 10,000x,
Food,
10,000x like multiple, right? Because a human can only process so much of the computer. So it's funny, right? So what this is really saying, what I kind of pulled out of this, you know what, maybe this isn't right and I might be totally wrong, but human beings develop natural biases to basically make their job easier or their output easier, right?
Correct.
I develop natural biases on the type of profile that I want to go after because I know I can ultimately get to them quickly, and it's a bias because I know that bias is going to lead to a quicker result for me.
It's relying on past information that you recognize.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I've seen this before. I kind of know how this is going to play.
So
out.
I've taken that feedback data as a human
Yeah.
and developed that natural biases to then
Correct.
ultimately go produce that output.
Yes.
Artificial intelligence is the exact same thing, but
Yes.
on a speed of 100,000 again.
Correct.
So when they're doing it at that rate, natural biases will pop up basically in the AI, right?
Mhm.
So this is something that's interesting, right? Because like for our business, right? Like I don't know, like we also like we've had to stay away from like certain stuff like around race and around culture and like because it's funny, right? Like we've read like a ton of papers in the past about stuff that's all educationally backed on how culture to culture that are the same relate to each other really well, and that will lead to a higher response rate, right? So. But we can't put that within our AI algorithm because that's disparaging. See what I mean? So that's our own like internal law or kind of I guess compliance that we actually didn't. I mean, listen, it might be around. I think it would be around something around the governance laws of that.
Sure.
But that's something that we put internally because how can you can't your artificial intelligence can't disparage. It just connects the same culture because. We live in a society where all cultures need to ultimately be able to interact with each other. It's not like right?
Correct.
So you can't disparage based on culture and race.
Mm.
So we put that own processes internally with our own AI
Nice
to make
one.
sure that we don't do that. So that's kind of something that I pulled out of this.
Okay.
And I think will be something that a lot of people will ultimately do there. Which again, listen, that's the future of the world and it's an interesting world that we live in, right?
It is, and it's all going to play out over time.
Right.
But I'm glad that you're already thinking about ways to future-proof yourself.
Yeah,
That's what it
yeah.
is. It's future-proofing.
Yeah, it's also like you want to create artificial intelligence that, what do they say here? Artificial intelligence that is ultimately, artificial intelligence that
Fair and equitable.
that's fair and equitable, right? That's brilliant, right? Like artificial intelligence that is fair and equitable. Like,
Now,
that's brilliant.
I think just like the real world, when you think of like parents and raising their kids to believe and think a certain way,
Right.
I think creators of certain AI platforms could also have that power to put in their own self-regulations like you are. It's just like it all depends on the founder or the creator of that AI to do the right thing.
That's why Zuckerberg was like in before the U.S. Supreme Government Supreme Court for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Because they were processing ads that were Republican campaigns or slanderous
Right.
or political,
Right.
and he was saying basically that we had nothing to do with that. But ultimately, but that's probably artificial intelligence, right? It's
Sure.
like you said this that stuff got the most controversial, which in turn got the most engagement, which in turn fueled more
Right.
eyeballs. And when
Right.
you have more eyeballs of Facebook as a platform,
Correct.
they're an ad platform that makes money on engagement. So when
Yes.
you're getting the controversial topic that leads to more engagement, that then takes feedback data that leads to more revenue for them. So it's interesting, right? Like that was, I think, kind of the first step on like a law around AI.
Right.
And I think you need to have it, right? It's no different than how human intellects. Will there be laws around that? Right?
Correct.
And you
Correct.
need to basically put mechanisms in place to be able to equate for that.
Yeah, so that's going to play out over time. I think we're going to keep an eye on this because obviously Greencube relies heavily on AI.
That's great, man. Good for you for both.
But it caught my eye.
Two claps for Tristan on the research.
I'm doing my job, baby. I'm doing my job. Everybody, that's Act 33. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them down below. We'll answer them in the next act. We'll answer them whenever. Hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next act. Act 34. Clip that.
Clip it!
Clip it.